Mankind lost the war. In the final seconds before his execution, the last human looks up with a smile and says, "We left you a present." As I stood, chained to the steel pole facing my executioners, I felt a peace I hadn't known in decades. When the Catarians first arrived, it was extending the olive branch of peace. They were treated with suspicion by the world powers, all of whom had seen many alien invasion movies. It left them nervous and skeptical. As it turned out, not skeptical enough. After several years of peaceful discussions with the Catarians to enter the Galactic Federation, humanity thought its first contact with an alien race had gone extraordinarily well. The Catarians had been very helpful explaining the political situation, and preparing humanity for entry to take our place at the Galactic Federation Council. Or so it had seemed. What they had actually been doing was using the time to covertly infiltrate the globe. After several years, the Catarians had managed to infiltrate and secretly install their own agents and control software, effectively neutering the human defense networks. It was something they had done countless times before to hundreds of primitive species prior to enslaving the population. First, disable their defenses, then conquer them and turn the population into a disposable labor force. What they hadn't been expecting was the sheer creativity and savagery of the human race. When the Catarians implemented their plan and disabled the defense networks, humans, always untrusting and prepared to be betrayed by anyone and everyone, fought back, viciously. Even without the ability to communicate and coordinate their attacks, we dealt blow after devastating blow to the Catarian infantry. We were able to defeat several of their airships using primitive Russian R.P.G. dots that were no more than point-and-shoot rockets. With no computer networking, they were beyond Catarian control. We put up a valiant struggle for over a decade. But as our casualties mounted and our supplies and ammunition dwindled, we realized that despite our best efforts, the battle was lost. It was simply a matter of time. The Catarians could always draw on more troops, more ships, more ammunition. We could not. Knowing our defeat was inevitable, a plan was put into place. It had been in the works for a long time, with several thousand brave volunteers sacrificing their own lives to make sure it would happen. I was the final link in that chain. It has been our experience that your race feels some need to express their thoughts prior to death, the captain said smugly. Although I find it to be pointless, one of my subordinates has indicated it might be useful to scholars in the future who write of the destruction of your little species. Would you like to say anything? I looked up from the ground, into the captain's black, glassy eyes. I saw his pale white skin glistening as the light rain fell on the courtyard. "You should have studied our history a little better," I said quietly. The alien sneered in unconcealed contempt. "Really? It didn't seem like doing so would have made any difference. We destroyed you, even though we barely knew anything about your precious history." "You did," I said with the faintest hint of a smile. "And we did likewise to you." The alien sneer slowly faded from his face. "What are you talking about?" I paused for effect. "We left you a present." The captain's eyelids narrowed over his black eyes. "Explain, human. Or I will kill you right now." "You'll kill me anyway," I said. "But I'll be happy to explain." I again paused, savoring the moment. Before you arrived, there was a sect of humanity that was dedicated to terrorizing other nations in order to advance their own political and ideological goals. Normally, they did this through mass shootings, bombings, that sort of thing. Shortly before your arrival, our police forces managed to stop them from implementing a biological terror attack. We learned quite a bit from the investigation conducted into their plans. The captain snorted with amusement. "Your attempts at scaring me are truly pathetic, human. We are immune to every infectious organism found on your planet," he said. "You are immune," I said, quietly. The alien smile dropped. "Didn't it ever occur to you that over the course of the last year, it became much easier for your forces to find and capture us? Didn't it seem awfully convenient that all of a sudden your troops were finding us everywhere? After decades of us managing to evade you with little difficulty?" Although it hardly seemed possible, the alien skin turned a paler shade of white. "That wasn't some miraculous sudden increase in your ability to track down a bunch of primitive humans, Captain. We let you find us." "Preposterous," the alien sputtered. "You think so?" I asked, my tone becoming more aggressive, condescending. I had nothing to lose now. "You've been immune to everything on our planet that was naturally occurring. But in studying your physiology, our scientists discovered something interesting. You weren't immune to something we created." The captain stared at him, a slight tremble beginning in his gun hand. "Turns out there was a type of chemical preservative, one we'd been developing for stabilizing plastics during interstellar flight. Quite deadly to your physiology, really. The only issue was delivering it." I paused for effect, relishing the rapidly developing terror on his face. "Turns out, we can encapsulate it in a time-release compound. Our agents just had to bite down on the pill and breathe in your direction, and boom. Instant infectious agent. But that's not the best part." The captain, unable to turn away for fear the firing squad behind him would see the fear on his face, stared at me. "The best part is, this compound? When it interacts with your physiology, it mutates. Develops the ability to replicate, encapsulation and all. We didn't plan it that way, we just got lucky." "So those troops that captured and killed the last of us? The ones who rotated back out of this backwater cesspool? They've already infected others. And those others have infected even more. You have a bona fide pandemic on your hands, Captain." "You're lying," the captain whispered. "I assure you, I'm not. I have no reason to, it's not like it would matter now anyways." The infected will start to develop symptoms within weeks. Little black dots will appear on your skin. After that, the disease is fatal within a matter of a week, maybe 2. At least that's what happened when we tested it on your soldiers we captured. I allowed a moment to pass before delivering the final blow. Another part of our history you should have read up on is World War II. A little Russian tactic called scorched earth.